What's up, everybody, bro? In today's video, we're going to be looking at Jon Jones and calling him out on his bullshit. All right, so Jon Jones had this interview with Kevin Iole, and in this interview, Jon Jones exposed himself for many things. The biggest thing being is that he's openly ducking Tom Aspinall. Now, he says a lot of bullshit in this video, so I'm really gonna be making him look a little bit dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be making this cheater to the fuck right there. I'm gonna make this cheater look like a real scared, insecure, nervous. There's just so much things. There's so much adjectives I could use to describe Jones. And I will say this, he's a great fighter for who he is, but he knows how to pick him. He sure knows how to make sure that he's never in a compromising position to lose. Because he's been put in that position before. We've seen it against Reyes and Jones. After that fight, I feel like Jones realized, you know what? Never again will I go against someone who's young and hungry. And keep in mind, Jones was 2 years older than Reyes. So the young and hungry guy was only like 2 years, his younger. So we're just going to react to this video. I want to just point out how much BS Jones is actually spewing this video, because a lot of Jones fans look at this video and they're like, oh, what he's saying makes sense, dude. Like, oh, of course Jones should be fighting Alex Pereira if he beats Stipe instead of Aspinall, shit like that. But I really just want to call him out on his BS, so let's react to some of these videos.
I think I know you pretty well and kind of what makes you tick. And, a lot of people are questioning, why is Stipe getting this fight? Because he hasn't won a fight in so long, and he hasn't fought
Great question.
In quite a long time. Is it because he is widely considered to be the greatest heavyweight of all time? Is that sort of in your thinking when you say, hey, Stipe is the guy I want to fight, that the reputation he has within the division that you now compete in?
Yeah, I feel that it's unfortunate that we live in a world where one bad performance discredits a person so much.
First of all, holy crap, he's already saying some BS already. He said, I hate that we live in a society that one bad performance means you're ass. No, it's not one bad performance. It's the fact that Stipe is 42 years old now. He hasn't fought in 3 years. He's shown no interest in even coming back until Jones brought the idea up about fighting him after he beat Cyril Gane. That's what it is. It's not that we think Stipe sucks because of, he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou, who's a sucky heavyweight. Francis Ngannou would do the same thing to Jones. Like, we don't think Stipe's washed because he just lost to Francis Ngannou. That's not why. So him trying to already paint this narrative that, like, yeah, dude, by the way, bro, the performance still wasn't cowabunga, dude. People are, like, backing off. No, it's not because the performance wasn't good. It's because he's 42 years old. He hasn't fought in 3 years. In his last fight, he didn't win. Like, he's well out of his prime. He wants to be a firefighter. You brought him out from being a firefighter to fight again. This whole narrative he's trying to spew right now, listen, he can gaslight, like, these idiots who are like, oh, yeah, that's true, dude. That's true. It's one bad performance. Stipe's still Stipe. That's not the reason.
Stipe has beat everyone. I mean,
10 years ago.
Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, Daniel Cormier, some of the biggest names, many champions he's defeated. And I feel like I'm wise enough to know that one bad night doesn't make a man or break a man.
Horrible narrative.
And Stipe is every bit of worthy as my opponent. It's not easy winning championships back to back, especially in the heavyweight division. And what he's done is truly special. And I just want to give the man his opportunity. I know fighting me for a lot of athletes is a really big deal. And if anyone deserves to be in there with me, it's Stipe Miocic.
Let me just say this, because I want to be clear, at least on my position on this. I have been critical of the fight, not because Stipe got beaten by Francis, but because he hasn't fought for so long.
Exactly.
Right? That is the big.
Look at Jones. Look at his face. Look at him.
Right?
Look at him.
Tom Aspinall's been fighting and been active, and Stipe has not. That's the only issue. I think,
Man, shout out Kevin for calling him out on his BS. I actually didn't watch his interview. I saw little clips on Twitter, but I never watched it. Kevin's calling him out.
Just like everybody agrees that you're the greatest fighter of all time, even though you haven't fought, in 2 years or a year and a half. People also think he's the greatest heavyweight. He just hasn't been active, and I think that's the argument people make.
And he's old.
I hear you. But what it shows me is our boss's loyalty to his athletes. I mean, Stipe Miocic versus Francis back in the day. I mean, it had the whole world excited of, like, how would this firefighter, right, what people like to call him, how would this 240-pound athlete go up a guy like Francis, this larger-than-life character, and they gave us a great, a little saga or whatnot, you want to call it. Dana White.
Why is he going back so far to, like, the first time he fought Francis? Like, you really going back 6 years ago? I don't even know when the fight was. He's going back a long time ago because he doesn't want to bring up what happened when they fought recently. Interesting tactic by Jones, bringing up fights from years ago trying to say, yeah, that's the same Stipe I'm going to fight. The one who beat Ngannou when he was green in the UFC, still new fairly, you know? Like, horrible. What is he? I don't even know what this play is here. I don't know.
He doesn't forget that, you know? I believe guys like Stipe and we helped take the UFC to a new level. And just because
So what?
we've been on for a while doesn't mean we're not great athletes and we don't have strong fan bases. We don't have MMA historians who, I shouldn't call it historians, but longtime MMA fans who always question what would.
Essentially what he's saying here is like, yeah, listen, the truth is, 5 years ago, Stipe beat this guy, 7 years ago, whatever, he beat this guy. That was very impressive. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, you're right. Stipe is not as good as he used to be, but, you know, historians like this, it's just like people who care about fights from years ago would love to see this fight. It just happens to be that Stipe's out of his prime now, and he's just trying to walk, he's trying to like walk on eggshells to avoid saying, yeah, Stipe isn't as good, but I know there's someone from back in the days who used to watch UFC who would love to see this fight now. But like that whole narrative is just kind of faulty because we know Stipe's not his best. We know you're 36 and Stipe's 42, and that's nearly a 7-year age difference. So cut it out, man.
What happened with Jon and Stipe? I'm 37 years old and I am not a person to be counted out. And at 42, I don't believe Stipe is a person to be counted out. Styles makes matchups, and for the real long-term MMA fans who grew up watching both Stipe and I compete, I think this fight is always going to be intriguing.
I just want to I know I'm pausing a lot, but I really want to break this guy down because he's saying a lot of BS. Okay, notice how he brought up the age. He's like, yeah, I'm 37. I'm still, you know what I'm saying? You can't count me out. I'm only 37. No, first of all, no one's counting you out when you're 37. You know Pereira's 37. He's champion of the world. We've seen 37-year-olds still look good. Usman, like, nearly 37. Did decent against Hamza. You know, we're not counting you out because you're 37. So stop trying to gaslight us like, yeah, dude, we're counting you out. You're 37. But Stipe is 42. Like I said, that's 6 years off. Wasn't it weird how when DC was 38, he gave prime Jones, who was 30 years old, who was also juiced at the time that we didn't know until after the fight, but DC was 38. He gave Jones a chance when Jones was 30. Young killer. Now, that's 8 years. Aspinall and Jones right now, I believe they're a 6-year difference, 37 to 31. So not only is less of a difference, but it shows that DC's more inclined to challenge himself because he believes in who he is as a fighter. He's trying to actually challenge himself, so he challenged himself against Jones. Did he need to do that at 8 years difference? No. If Jones was in his boots, would he have been 38 fighting a 30-year-old? No, because he's 37 ducking a 31-year-old. And that's 6 years apart, not 8 years apart. So some people just have something about them where, like, they're killers. They know they're killers, you feel me? Like, they know who they are. And then there's other people who, like, he wants to save his legacy. Do I blame him for this fully? Not really. Like, I get it. Like, listen, you know you're not going to be Aspinall in your heart, clearly. This is why you don't want to fight him. So you're trying to fight someone stylistically who's older, who can barely move, who was limping in the octagon last time we seen him. You know, so I get what he's doing, but it's just like, it shows his character compared to people like DC, et cetera, et cetera. Just different types of people, different breeds. DC's a different breed from Jon Jones.
To them.
He obviously has had an unbelievable, beat Fabricio Verdum. He's beaten DC twice. He beat Francis Ngannou. So nobody can argue with his record. Given where he's at now, how do you game plan for a guy that hasn't been active, right? He's only fought once each year from going back the last 4 or 5 years, and then he hasn't fought at all since 2021. Crazy. How do you game plan for a guy like that when you don't have recent film of what he does?
Well, his inactivity, I try not to pay much attention to that. I mean, I took off 3 years.
As you shouldn't.
And I came back and I beat one of the most mystical creatures that the UFC has seen in a while in Cyril Gane.
I'm actually going to agree with Jones here. People forget, man. People forget, dude. Jokes aside, though, when Jones did come back and beat Cyril Gane really easily, like, a lot of people gave Cyril Gane a chance. I know right now we're looking back at, he had no wrestling defense, but a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, dude, Cyril Gane, dude, he's just too good. He's going to stuff the takedowns, force him to stay, and he's going to outpoint him. A lot of people thought that. I know people nowadays like, nah, I never thought that, dude. I'm not a casual dude, but they did think that. So I give him credit for that. It was one like those things like, oh, he's the next guy up. He's young. And then he went in there against someone who stylistically just didn't match up well with him. Because we saw what, for instance, Ngannou did to Cyril Gane in the wrestling department. And Ngannou's nowhere as accomplished as Jones in the wrestling. So I will give him credit there. So I actually do respect this. I don't really care how he's going to game plan for Stipe, though. Like, I don't really want to even watch this part. Okay, I'm going to skip to the part where he says why he's not fighting Tom Aspinall. I just don't care. I just don't care, chat. I'm so sorry. All right, skip to that part. Why he's not fighting Tom Aspinall.
And also the guy that people want to see you fight, right? So here's the question. You're fighting Stipe Miocic, and I know you're focused on that fight. If you defeat him, as you're a 6-1 favorite to win the fight, if you defeat him, will you defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. More than likely not. I feel.
Look how quick he shuts that down, first of all. More than before you even finish, more than likely not. Bro, you're nervous, bro.
Like Tom Aspinall is, I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything. And I understand that. I mean, he won his belt against Sergey. Sergey just got slaughtered by someone else. So it's just like, I'm not here to gamble someone else making a name.
Let me just stop him right here. First of all, I like the point he brought up with Sergey, because it shows how hypocritical he is. Yeah, he beat Sergey, but Sergey just then went on and lost his next fight to Volkov. Yo, Jones, you want to talk about what happened to Reyes, your toughest fight after you beat Reyes? Want to go down the path with saying what happens after you beat these guys? Reyes looked shitty. Reyes trying to make it like a comeback now, it looks like, but he was looking shitty. What about Anthony Smith after you beat him? You were so glazed after that win. What happened afterwards? Like, I could literally play the game he's... Well, how about Thiago Santos, like, who gave you a close fight? I could literally play the game he's playing with, like, 90% of his career. So don't try to say, like, oh, he beat Sergey, and then what happened after that? He also beat Sergey, he beat Curtis Blades, too. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the fact that he's trying to say he's not accomplished. Like, I don't want to say he's a nobody. I mean, you can't say he's a nobody. He's an interim champion who's beaten everyone they put in front of him by finish, and finished him in the first 2 rounds. 100% finish rate. What are you talking about? And the UFC has just been finishing all these guys. So his whole narrative, like, I'm not trying to say he's a nobody. You're an idiot, bro. You're not convincing me. I know he's not a nobody. Who are you telling he's not a nobody to? You're not us. We know he's not a nobody. We know why you don't really want this fight. It's just, I don't like this narrative you're trying to paint with, like, oh, the guy he just beat didn't look that good in his last fight. I can say that about your whole career, Jones. So cut it out there, bro. And this whole thing, I don't want to gamble for a guy with no name. He has a name. Like, that whole narrative, he doesn't have a name. What the hell? Everyone knows Tom Aspinall. Everyone wants the Tom Aspinall fight more than they want the Stipe fight. Talking about you don't have a name. Beating Tom Aspinall does more for Jones' legacy. Only thing that beating Stipe does for Jones' legacy is that 20 years from now, people who weren't like here at the time will probably be like, oh, he beat Stipe, dude. That's radical, dude. Cowabunga, dude. They won't know he's 42 and he was well out of his prime. Beating Tom Aspinall right now does way more because Tom Aspinall was running through everyone in the division, finished him in the first round. If Jones were to go in there and stop someone like Aspinall, that'd be more impressive than stopping a 42-year-old man who can barely limp into the octagon. That's a whole way better for your legacy. But he's trying to gaslight his fans that, like, no, but Stipe is still the heavyweight GOAT because 7 years ago he did this. We don't care, bro. We're living in the now. We're not living in the past. Wake up.
Off of me, I'm here to compete against the guys where when we look back, 10 years from now, it'd be like Jon Jones fought this guy and that guy and this legend and this champion and this champion. If there were to be a fight of a guy that's still on our UFC roster that would be not only financially worth it, but legacy worth it, it would be Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira and I, we both 30
light heavyweight champ.
Look how he threw it in that slide little, light heavyweight champ. Yeah, I love Kevin. He's a funny guy, bro. Yeah, light heavyweight champ. He knows what's up, bro. First of all, yeah, you called out a light heavyweight champ. And I know people aren't going to see it. And I know a lot of people in the comments are probably going to be like, yeah, but Alex Pereira is like a bigger fight than him. First of all, Tom Aspinall and Alex Pereira for Jones are both big fights. People want to see the Aspinall fight more, but people wouldn't mind seeing the Pereira fight, of course, because Pereira's Pereira. Why is Jones pushing for this fight rather than pushing for the Aspinall fight? Here's the reason why. Stylistically, who matches up better for Jones? Let me think. The guy who's a kickboxer who got taken down by Israel Adesanya, Yuri Prochazka, Michailidis, Bruno Silva multiple times, you know what I'm saying? Jan Blachowicz. Got talking about all these strikers versus someone like Jones who's like been wrestling his whole life. He's asking for the Pereira fight because he knows stylistically that he would, no offense to Pereira fans, I know you guys don't want to hear this, so cover your ears, he would not struggle with Pereira. He's not pushing for the Aspinall fight because he knows Aspinall has that grappling and has that power just like Pereira with that speed. So it's just a matter of what's an easier fight that I could win and people are going to glaze me for. Listen, casual fans actually probably believe Pereira has a chance, you know what I'm saying? So I understand what Jones is doing right now. He's not an idiot. Jones is not an idiot, chat. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows that if he beats Alex Pereira, there's going to be someone around the world who's like probably 12 years like, how did he do that, dude? How did he do that? But like people with common sense, bro, like know how that fight 9 out of 10 times will go. Rather than fighting a Tom Aspinall who's a harder fight, who's in your weight class, which is weird that you're trying to fight someone under a weight class. It just this in my opinion shows how fearful he actually is of Tom Aspinall. He should never have said this, but like I said, as a businessman, I see what he's doing. He's trying to get an easier fight for like probably the same amount of money he'd get paid for the Aspinall fight. Smart guy, bro, and he's trying to gaslight you guys like, nah, it's just a bigger fight because Alex Pereira is so good and he's so tough to beat. He got knocked out by a middleweight. He gets out wrestled by everyone he's wrestled against. Like Jones is smart, bro. He knows what he's doing, but he's still not convincing me. He might convince people in the chat, but I'm not these people in the chat, bro. I'm me, bro.
Yeah, we're both 37 years old. Right now, I weigh about 235.
Notice how we just threw in. Yeah, we're both 37 years old, so like I would never give anyone an advantage over me if they're younger than me, like because I know I'll lose. It's a good little slide throwing.
An incredibly light heavyweight. I think Pereira walks around at 240.
Not true.
And I think that fight.
Why is he trying to gaslight himself like Pereira's bigger than him? We've seen Pereira's share size when he's walking around compared to your share size. We know who's bigger. Stop trying to gaslight us like Pereira's the bigger guy. Jones couldn't make middleweight if he tried.
On my legacy than a young man who's cool today and maybe gone tomorrow. I remember a time when the whole world thought Johnny Walker was going to be the guy to beat me.
That's true.
And no disrespect for Johnny Walker, but I mean, we all have seen the way his career's played out. I've just been here too long to get all excited about someone who's hot today. I'm here for legacy. I've been gambling.
I can respect
way too long to just take random fights.
Wait, but when he said I've been gambling way too long to take random fights, you haven't gambled a single fight. You haven't gave anyone the age advantage. You never like done that. So I don't know what you mean gambling. He sounds weird. I'm sure he's just talking about the one Siragon fight with a guy who was a kickboxer who had no defensive wrestling.
Well, I'm part of the whole world, and I did not think Johnny Walker was going to beat you, but we'll go there. I know we're running short of time, so I want to get two more questions into you, John. First of all, I think that you've had a number of great accomplishments in your career, right? It's been unbelievable in your career. I would say technically.
I don't really care about this question, but I want to see who Jones thinks the pound for pound number one is. I didn't see this.
Answer on this because this is the last question. I know that you've heard Dana for the last 6 or 8 months. Jon Jones is the greatest pound for pound fighter in the world. I think you say to Dana, "Where are you going for dinner tonight?" Well, I don't know, but Jon Jones is the greatest pound for pound fighter in the world. And you probably heard Dana and I going at it back and forth at the Contender Series. When my only argument was Jon hasn't fought in 18 months, and so he can't be pound for pound if you're not active. I just want to give you. Why does being number one pound for pound mean so much to you? Because I saw you when Dana has said that, you have tweeted and gone on social media and said that. Why does that mean so much to you?
It's just an honor. That's all. It's just a huge honor to even be considered at 37 years old, one of the most well-rounded winners in our sport still.
He is.
It's a huge honor, and I'm just very grateful that my boss, a man who sat front row for every fight, for all of our fights, for him to say, "Hey, listen, guys, trust me.
He loves the glaze.
I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm looking at. And in my opinion, if Jon was the same size as a lot of these other guys, Jon would be in the mix." I think we have a lot of new fans, a lot of younger fans who, our sport can be very, "What have you done for me lately?" And I think Dana is doing a great job of saying, "Hey, let's wait a minute. Let's remember what this guy's done."
Right.
And
that's like, bro, this goes back to the narrative that pound for pound really is. It's showing consistency, showing you're still skilled, showing just different things. It's not just showing, yeah, you're the greatest of all time, so even though you fought like 2 years ago, you're still going to be pound for pound number one. No, the pound for pound rankings update like every week. So like, if you're being consistent, you guys got to realize that's going to get you higher on the pound for pound rankings rather than fighting once in 2 years. But yeah, listen, man. I really just made this video to break down and talk my crap about Jones because this guy Jones, chat, like, I don't know how I feel about like some of these antics and some of these things. Like, I do think he's a duck. Let's get that straight. Jones is a duck. He is the type to duck someone, but I'm not going to talk too harshly about him. He made some valid points in that video, as I did. I don't want to come off like I'm trying to hate on Jones or anything like that. I just want to come up with the truth, and the truth is he does not want the Tom Aspinall fight, not because he doesn't think Tom Aspinall is deserving, rather because he doesn't want to take the risk of going against an up-and-comer and give him the same treatment that DC gave Jones when DC was 38 and he put Jones in there when he was 30 and said, let's fight. He would never do that with someone like Aspinall because he doesn't believe in himself enough to take that fight and win. But let me know what y'all think down below. I could be tripping. You know what I'm saying? My hairline look good today. You know what I'm saying? I got the puffer on. Probably got Tim's on my feet right now. Y'all don't even know that. But you know what I'm saying? That's it for me, bro. Hope y'all enjoying the video. Let me know what y'all do think about Jones down below. How you feel about this Aspinall, Pereira, Jones situation. I think he's ducking. Let me know what you think. But that's it for me. And God bless. 2, 3, 4.